we have Mr. Saurabh Saxena, who is the country director for Micro Focus India. So the idea of this conversation is to get his inputs on basically the highlights of the Micro Focus achievements if we talk about India in 2021, as well as his views and his thoughts about the outlook for the technology industry over the next 2 3 years, and basically the 2022. So, Mr. Saurabh, first of all, I would like to understand the highlights of your achievements in terms of business growth, or maybe customer acquisition, or any new innovations in 2021 as regards to Micro Focus business in India.
Thanks, Amit, and thanks for the opportunity. Pleasure for me to speak to your viewers through you. It has been an interesting year, 2021, and it's in fact a very different year from last year, which was 2020. This year, the situation was different because customers came back and said they knew exactly what challenges would come, and organizations like Micro Focus had to be better prepared to be able to support the customers in their challenges. We actually saw two things changed because of the pandemic. The first was a very important need that everyone realized across segments, whether it was government and public sector, because they were now had to go and engage with citizens online. They couldn't have a window, a physical window, being given to the citizens. They had to be online. Or banking and finance customers, telco customers, ITES, software providers, manufacturing, all of them realized that they had to go digital and they had to accelerate the digital transformation efforts. So this actually helped us in the IT industry, where we saw customers having a compelling event of accelerating the digital transformation efforts. The second thing we saw was the human face of it. We saw every organization demonstrating a human face and being sensitive and empathizing with the remote workforce. So how did we engage? We realized that every organization had to run because they had to ensure business continuity. At the same time, they had to transform. So they had to run and transform at the same time. And we were able to help our customers, Amit, with the help of our four focus areas, our key four focus areas that helped our customers and achieve what we achieved in India as well as globally in the last couple of years. With first, helping customers accelerate application delivery with high speed and low risk with enterprise DevOps solution. This was critical because as more and more customers went online to give an omni-channel experience to their end customers, they had to be coming up with high quality applications which were customer facing, which were also differentiated from their competitors, and it had to be stable and of high quality. The pipeline of applications and changes had to be very, very automated and had to be ensured it's happening very frequently. It could only happen with enterprise DevOps solutions from Micro Focus. So we worked with our customers on enterprise DevOps to ensure accelerated application delivery. That was the first aspect of it. The second aspect of it was how could we simplify their IT transformation with hybrid IT management. We realized that customers are no longer completely on-premise or on a public or a private cloud. Customers were in a hybrid ecosystem and they required management of a hybrid ecosystem with agility. And that is what Micro Focus with our IT operations management suite was able to support our customers simplify the IT transformation across the board. We had a lot of growth in that area as well. The third area, which actually became very, very prominent, was the area of how do we strengthen cyber resilience for all our customers. Because the customers now had a remote workforce, their exposure was increased manifold. Unlike in an enterprise, where they were within a perimeter security, because it was an exposed workforce, they needed to ensure that we had to give them security, risk and governance solution to strengthen their cyber resilient framework. And Micro Focus was well positioned to do that because we have solutions to ensure protect infrastructure, with SOC solutions, security operations center solutions. You were there to protect their applications with application security solutions. You were there to protect their data with data security solutions. And most important, because the workforce was remote or in a hybrid situation, to protect the identities with identity governance and identity and access management solutions. So our cyber resilient portfolio or the security portfolio was so robust that we had tremendous growth, Amit, in this area. We saw engagements with customers across board. In India, with these, and the third and the fourth and the most important area was how do we provide customers get insights of what's happening in their ecosystem with predictive analytics. And with our predictive analytics solutions, which was not only as an independent solution, but also embedded in DevOps, in hybrid IT management, and in cybersecurity solutions, we were able to give insights to our customers so that they could act in time. In India, we had traction across these four focus areas across board. For instance, let me start with government and public sector. So while projects slowed down because physical access to data centers was not there, if data center builds were happening, they were slowed down because material couldn't reach. Infrastructure slowed down because there was shortage of chips and semiconductors. There was logistics issues as well. But with whatever projects that governments were launching across smart cities, safe cities, BharatNet, state data centers, we had great traction in these areas. In fact, by now, in the smart city mission that the government of India has under the Ministry of Urban Development, they have at least 60 smart cities running full functional or in the process of getting into production. And at least 50% of those smart cities have some footprint of Micro Focus solutions, either managing their infrastructure, securing their infrastructure, or securing their applications. So we have had great traction in that area. We've had great traction in the area where customers, government, as well as enterprise alike were looking at securing the applications because they had to ensure the applications were secured from possible vulnerabilities. So our Fortify solution, the applications were more fortified. So our Fortify solutions around application security played a very big role, and we had tremendous growth in this specific domain in the last 18 months that you've seen across government and public sector, across banking, finance, across software vendors. We had great software developers. We had great traction in that area as well. Just to summarize, with respect to how Micro Focus has been engaged, I talked about Micro Focus being a top 10 enterprise pure play software provider. We have revenues of globally over $3 billion. We are present in over 48 countries. We have 40,000 customers globally, and we work very strongly with our channel and alliances partners. We have close to 6,500 partners globally. And this time of pandemic, realized that our engagement and our relationship with the channel partners and alliance partners became even more stronger because we had to reach out to our customers, and the channel and alliance partners were extended hands and feet, remotely or physically, to be able to engage with the customers. So very interesting year. The customers knew exactly when the wave 2 hit them in terms of what they required. We were sweetly positioned in terms of helping our customers, engaging with them, and being a great supporter to our customers. And we were able to leverage our channel community and alliance community to also help and work with our customers. So very, very interesting year, and we had a very, very good engagement with our external ecosystem.
Perfect. So definitely a very achieving year that you had. So you just mentioned about your relations with channels. Okay, so taking this lead ahead, my next question is on that with the ongoing pandemic, what are the changes that you see in the relations between brands, channels, and the customers? Because they have a very unique combination and a very unique relation between them. Okay, so what are the changes that you have seen in the relations due to the pandemic time?
It's a very interesting question, and I think it was pretty evident to us as we moved from, as I said, March of last year to this year, in terms of how the relationship with for instance, for an OEM like us, our relationship with and engagement with the channel partners, how they changed. And we saw how their engagements and interactions with their customers changed as well. As I said, the channel partners also face the same requirement from the customers. The customers are very, very specific in terms of where they wanted support from the channel partners. It was not generic, it was very, very specific, whether it was network resilience, so network management, whether it was identity management, whether it was in the area of security. They were very, very clear now where they wanted to really push the digital transformation journey. And hence the channel partners realized that they couldn't be generic. They had to come back and engage with their customers being very specific and niche in terms of their subject matter expertise. So channel partners realized that they had to be very specific. It gave us the opportunity as a brand and OEM to engage and enable our channel partners in this area. So the advantage that the pandemic gave us, since everybody was remote and working from home, there was time on our hands. And which means nobody was on traffic, nobody was in a customer meeting, waiting in a reception. They had productive time on the hands. And in fact, Amit, in the last year and a half, the amount of hours we spent enabling our channel partners has been much more than what we did previously. We had much more participation from our channel partners in specific areas and domains. In our webinars we did, in technical sessions we did. We saw a huge growth in terms of participation and interest in our channel partners seriously talking about acquiring skill sets in certain specific domains. And then we saw them engaging with our customers. It also helped us because when we're going and having those conversations with our customers, and as I said, Microfocus is a very progressive channel-facing organization. I talked about 6,500 channel partners across the globe. We work in a collaborative manner to provide solutions and services to our customers. And channel ecosystem is a very key engine in the way we engage with our customers. And this gave us a great opportunity to engage with the channel partners, enable them, and ensure that they have quality engagements with our customers and are able to provide the solutions they need. It also gave us an opportunity to launch a few programs for our channel partners, which helped them because the channel partners are also going through a tough time. Business was not easy, business was challenging. They were faced with, for instance, there were channel partners who had physical on-site resources managing data centers or SOCs, etc., networks, and they had to suddenly go remote. And they had to manage it remotely, right? So it helped us to ensure that our IT assurance solutions go in. The channel partners were able to pitch in with that, but we were also working with the channel partners to give them programs that help them enable their workforce, upskill their workforce, and engage with customers and get more business with our customers. So for instance, we have a partner boost program that is running in India and in Asia Pacific, in Japan, which basically is a great program to support the channel community, to engage more with our customers, go with the solutions, and it gives a better outcome to them, both from a technical as well as financial standpoint. So the dynamics have changed dramatically for the good, if I may say so, in the last year and a half. We've seen a lot of traction with the channel alliance partners, and I believe it's for the good and the better.
Perfect. So with the current pandemic, what we are observing that there are changes in the expectations and purchasing behavior of the customers. Okay, so that is basically forcing many of the channel firms to reconsider their business model. So what are your suggestions for the channels to reinvent themselves?
So very interesting question. I'll try and answer this, Amit, with respect to what we're seeing channels asking and demanding now, and the pressures on them to kind of survive and grow in this environment, and also how we are adapting ourselves as well in this changing ecosystem. So the first change that happened, India, for instance, is a very interpersonal market, which means it's a very face-to-face engagement market. Customers like to see their IT providers or their vendors in front of them and talk to them in front of them. That's very India, very different from what you see in many Western economies, but this is a very typical India market. It just went off a year and a half back. 18 months to 20 months back, you couldn't even go and meet customers physically, right? You're asking me a question, are you in your office? How come you're in office? So you had to change remotely to how to engage with your customers remotely. Now you look at a customer persona who is now bombarded with multiple channel vendors and multiple OEM vendors. So how does a channel partner or OEM vendor like us be able to differentiate of what we can provide and offer to a customer? So the ability to engage remotely involved, we are an enterprise software organization, which means the customer wants to see and feel what we have to offer. So when we talk about a network management solution or an IT service management solution or a security operations center solution or an enterprise DevSecOps solution, They want to see a POC, a proof of concept, or they want to see a demo. Now, proof of concept was impossible because you couldn't go on site. So how do you ensure that? So we had to change the way that we are engaging with the customers. This includes us as well as channel partners. So what we had done, in fact, we were so well prepared, Amit, that we in fact had invested a few years back into a digital lab. We call that a Merline lab in Singapore, and we have a Lotus lab in India, which has an infrastructure already there, and we have a set of use cases which are already implemented in that lab. So what we were doing with the customers is that customers were very clear in terms of, in these times, what are the 5 use cases I wanted to see? Can you show me those 5 use cases, not as a PowerPoint presentation, but show me also not as a CAN demo, how can I see it running? And we had all those use cases already running in a Merlion lab or a Lotus lab, and we could actually show our customers those use cases running in these labs. And that was very effective because the customers got confidence in terms of what we were talking about. And that was one change in the way that we were engaging and interacting with the customer. This is a change that happened. It happened for the good, for the positive. The second change that happened is the customers also had a huge budgetary pressure from their CFOs. So there were challenges whether the customer wanted a capex heavy investment or an opex heavy investment. They also wanted to consume solutions differently. They wanted options to consume solutions differently. And hence, 2 things that happened, Amit. First was Micro Focus's strong push and focus in software as a service offering. So we started investing very strongly in providing customers software as a service offerings. For instance, we've got now SMAX. I talked about the IT service management solution now available in as a SaaS offering. And just a couple of weeks back, we announced our IT infrastructure management operations bridge on SaaS as well. We already have most of our DevSecOps solutions available on SaaS on demand. So that was the first push that we saw as a change. The second we saw from a channel community is that there was also a requirement of the channel being service providers, managed service providers, which means the customers wanted a OpEx kind of an offering where they didn't want to own the software or solutions, but they wanted services on demand. And hence we saw many of our channel partners now becoming managed service providers or managed security service providers for us, offering them SIM solution, offering them other solutions as well. And we saw a growth of that happening last year. And this is one area we saw our channel community moving towards. And we're seeing, in fact, more signings. As before the interview, in fact, I was just reviewing with my team. We just had 1 new signing today of a channel partner signing up as an MSSP partner for Micro Focus, because that's the need. Customers now want to adopt and to consume solutions on demand as a services offering, not to install it in the data centers because it's so difficult to manage data centers, as well as, in fact, get infrastructure for the data center. It takes about 2 to 3 months now to get infrastructure for the data center. So that's the other shift that happened with our channel community, and that's again for the positive. And this, I think, is going to be the road forward as you look about 2-3 years down the line in terms of the engagement models we'll see between the OEM, the channel, and the customers. You will see this model, which is consume on the cloud, software as a service, platform as a service, managed service provider platform. These are areas we'll see much more being prevalent going forward. I think this is one again, refreshing change we've seen because of the pandemic.
Very good. So very interesting insights for the channels. So now I would like to talk about, we need to talk about the trends. Okay, so according to you, what are the top trends, basically the technology trends which are going to shape the technology industry in 2022?
There were a few trends that we saw, we heard, which were everybody was talking about, right? What the pandemic has done has given it clear direction of certain trends. First, we've seen customers wanting to be cloud native. This was an aspiration for many customers. Because of the challenges the pandemic faced, the customers now are looking at being cloud native straight up. Hence, as I talked about, the investment and push in the areas of services, software as a service offering, managed service provider, etc., etc. So that's one trend which is definitely moving forward, being cloud native, and we'll see more and more customers being in a very pure hybrid environment. And hence hybrid IT management, one of our core offerings, becomes very, very critical. That's the first trend we see. The second trend we see is that customers now, we see it real happening, adopting emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning. That was something we saw, we talked about, but we're now seeing it in execution at this point of time. In fact, many of our solutions have got AI built in. So in the area of IT operations management, we've got AI ops, for instance, built in. We've got AI ops built in application lifecycle management in our security solutions. So that's one area you saw clearly that's kind of emerging. The third area we saw was enhanced automation across board. Because of the fact that physical intervention now is becoming more unpredictable. So we don't know about wave 3 in India right now. Right? There's so many speculations whether lockdown is going to happen in January, in February, peak is going to happen or not. The data has been collected about Omicron. But the fact of the matter is, you need to ensure business keeps on running. And that can only happen if you reduce manual intervention, have extreme automation. And that's one area we've seen across the network operations center and the security operations center. So that's the other area we're seeing trends going forward. Clearly, because of the way workforce is spread across and the way the attack surface is increased today, cyber resilience and security becomes very, very critical. And this is serious matter, boardroom discussion now today, because no organization can afford to have a breach. If they have a breach, your customers will move to the other organization, because you need to have a very, very robust and secure ecosystem to be engaging with your end customers. And hence we're seeing a lot of areas in terms of UBA, in terms of SOAR. We're seeing a lot of traction in the area of application security. This is clearly one area because customers cannot have their applications being vulnerable, and the fact that the applications need to be upgraded and new versions need to keep on coming up to be competitive. We've seen a shift left that's happening, and that's going to be the trend going forward around application security. Data security and identity management, identity protection of the identities becomes very, very critical as well, because now you've got remote workforce. I don't think so it's going to be 100%, even if the pandemic ends. All of us know it's never going to be pre-pandemic 100% work from office. It is going to be a hybrid workforce, which means that you need to protect the identities of your workforce as well as you need to protect the data. That becomes very, very critical. And again, with Micro Focus, with our solutions around voltage and our solutions around identity and access management with NetIQ, we are very well positioned to support our customers in this specific domain as well. So these are the 3-4 areas that we see. And last but not the least is the fact that customers now want insights right there and then. And hence analytics will need to be embedded in everything that we do.
Yeah.
And that's very, very critical, because customers need to be able to proact and need to be able to act and predict things, and that can't happen without analytics. And this is where, because of our strength in Vertica and IDOL, we have met as an independent offering as well, as I mentioned before. Also, we have this analytics engine now embedded in almost every solution. It's like the engine under the hood of a car. You don't see it, but it is always running the car and providing beautiful dashboards to our customers so that they can take and act in time before things go bad. So these are the trends that we're seeing. We were talking about this, Amit, 2 years back as well. It is not that these were things we were not talking about. What we're seeing now is they taking shape and being executed in the ground in our customer ecosystem. We're seeing this clearly, that's happening right now. We're seeing customers asking for it. And as Micro Focus, we are very well prepared to address these needs. We are also changing and kind of bringing innovations in our products and solutions. For instance, we have 300 products, enterprise-grade products across our 4 focus areas. And in the last 1 year itself, we've had almost 1,000 releases in these products. Despite the pandemic, our research and development, our engineering engine has been working so fast to be able to churn out almost 1,000 releases, which is almost close to 3 releases a day if you see in the last 1 year or so across a 300 product. So it's you need to innovate fast. You need to ensure that with all these solutions, you're able to provide these innovative solutions to the customers with minimum risk. And I think this is something which is very interesting. So these 4 or 5 areas, I believe, are the trends that we'll see in the future in 2022 and beyond as we move forward.
Very interesting. So my last question for you would be on the outlook. So basically, what is your outlook for the technology industry over the next 2-3 years from now?
I think the technology industry is very well placed. The fact that we are now seeing accelerated digital transformation happening across board, and as I said, this is not missed or left any segment. Every segment is now looking at accelerating the digital transformation efforts, and this cannot happen without technology partners. And hence, I believe that technology vendors, technology providers play a very, very important role in how every organization and their customers are shaping themselves for the future. There is clearly a question about the rebound that needs to happen. Despite this uncertainty of wave 3, wave 4, when will this end, etc., etc., every customer now realizes that this is part and parcel of business as usual. They need to be well prepared for it and address the need of their end consumers. So whether they need to provide them now an omni-channel experience, because a lot of shopping now happens online as compared to in a brick and mortar store. It doesn't happen like that. So they need to change themselves. And when they're going through this journey, what they need to do is they need to run, because they cannot afford to stop their businesses, and transform. And that's very important. And Micro Focus is very well positioned to help our customers run and transform with minimum risk, and as we take them through the digital transformation journey. So I think we are well positioned as a technology provider. I think the technology industry itself, if you can look at the technology industry, you can see that the industry itself is doing very well, because the need of the hour is digital transformation. It's a digital and human, two things that the pandemic has taught us, and the digital piece is where technology providers are going to support their customers and partner with the customers to take them through the digital transformation journey.
Thanks a lot. So I believe these are very, very precious and very deep insights that you have provided. So I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Amit, for giving the opportunity. And let me take this opportunity to wish your viewers a very safe and happy new year.